All right. Welcome to Truth, Love, and Other Frivolous Things. I'm your host, Ian Ducharme. This is going to be my first episode, so I don't expect it to go as smoothly as my future episodes will. But I'm going to try my best, and hopefully this is the start of something awesome. I just got back from a nice walk outside and meditated on some things and just trying to figure out how I'm going to go about this whole podcasting thing. It's not easy, sitting in front of a camera, talking to a microphone, doing all this stuff. Like, it's definitely different than just like what I figured it'd be, just talking to myself like I always do, kind of deal, thinking to myself all these crazy ideas. But as soon as you start talking out loud, recording it especially, it's a whole other deal. So I went out for a walk and kind of meditated on that sort of stuff. Like, how am I going to do this properly? And because I want to be genuine and I'm not trying to, put on this, fake show type thing that like just for views type stuff. So I figured I'd just talk and hopefully it leads to some good conversation. I've seen a partridge on the road, like while I was on the trail that I was on. Went into the bush a bit, and those things, they're pretty simple creatures. You can walk right up on them, and they hardly react. But I'm very fortunate to live where I live, I think, and to be next to nature, like, 10-minute walk and I'm already in the bush, it's nice. There's still snow on the ground, so I have to kind of stick to the trails, really, but I don't know, it's good, and can't wait for summer. Few of the topics I wanted to talk about maybe this episode was, truth, mainly, and love, because, that's the name of the podcast. Truth, to me, is something that's, everyone talks about, living their truth, or, it talks about, like, if we all just followed the truth, everything would be fine, kind of deal, like, we just gotta follow this truth. Like, what is the truth? Who knows the truth? Is, like, all I know is what I know, and I know a lot of what other people have told me, and what people tell me, I kind of have to trust that they're being genuine, at the very least being genuine, for the most part, though, like, for me, following the truth means, like, collecting all this knowledge and experiences and, reflecting on them constantly and, taking in new information as it is and challenging my own ideas with those new ideas, kind of seeing what sticks and what's kind of bunk, and, you do the best you can. I think everybody does, I think everybody tries their best in all parts of their lives, and I think following the truth is a really good way to actually, progress in your own life. Because, if you're lying to yourself and you're lying to others and you're not following any sort of truth, like, other than what you think is true, which, like, oh, I don't need to follow the rules. I just need to lie, cheat, and steal, and I get whatever I want, and yada, 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 and all these, kind of bullshit things, people say to themselves, like, I'm this way because of this and that, and the next thing, instead of actually addressing their issues and problems and getting down to it, like, I think following the truth can help with a whole lot of that. It takes a whole lot of humbling. It takes a whole lot of checking your own ego. And I don't know, I hope I'm good enough at it that I'm not going to let my ego ever get the best of me, And for some people, like, base their whole lives on lies, you challenge that, that person's ideas, if they're false, and, you're challenging their entire being, everything that they built up in their entire life. And it's like, well, as far as I know, that's all kind of bunk, and you can give them all the evidence you want, but they're never going to listen to you, like, unless they really want to deconstruct themselves and build themselves back up from what, you have to give them something else. And 9 times out of 10, they're not going to adopt whatever you got peddling, because you're the one that destroyed their entire life. Like, so I don't know, like, I just hope for the best for human beings, and I hope everybody does the best that they can. And I hope that whatever I have to say contributes to all that, because, like, I think that's where the love comes in, like, I just love everybody. I love life. I love everything. And truth and love, I think, are the best way to come to a good understanding of the world, because without the love, and you just go for just truth, like, yeah, you might, think you're right all the time, or, challenge yourself enough to know you're right, or whatever else. You're following their truth and everything, but without that love, like, does it even matter? Like, you can do everything right, but, like, you can tell the truth and follow the truth, but some guy who just believes in a bunch of bunk and, goes around stealing things and living that kind of life, and never gets caught, does everything wrong, but scathes through life, unscathed, sorry. And, like, what of it, And I think everyone needs some love. I think that's why family's important, friends are important. I think everybody has someone who loves them. If you think you don't, well, I think you're just in a place where you can't see it, So I've been to places in my own life where I couldn't see how many people actually love me. And that's not a good place to be. And I hope that if you are that kind of person, well, I hope you gain some good perspectives, and I hope that everything goes well for you, and that you stick around. Life's awesome, and I think everybody can really get something out of it. There's something in life for everybody. The other thing about truth that ended up leading me into was, like, Buddhism and things like that, like these spiritual practices, and that's probably where I'm gonna go next, is probably read up on a bunch of Buddhism. And as far as I understand with Buddhism, it's just like kind of a way of life type thing, and how to live, and how to understand things, I guess. But I don't really know a whole lot about Buddhism, to be honest. I know what other people have told me, but I don't know, I don't absorb everything. And Buddhism just seems like one of these religions or practices that, well, it's not like a religion, but because I don't think they have a god or anything like that. But I don't know, they believe in things that help them with life, and I think maybe that's a little bit what I need. At the end of the day, I'm trying to find spirituality and hopefully share my experiences with that with everybody in the world, and maybe make a difference. That's all I want, really, is just make a difference in the world and see what happens, and I hope that whatever I say on this podcast, that people don't either take it too seriously, or think that I'm, I don't know, condescending, or I don't know. Like, I don't want people taking what I say the wrong way. These are just my opinions, my ideas. If I'm wrong about something, I'm on all the platforms now with this podcast. So just shout me out. Be like, hey, man, think there's something up with what you're saying. It's not quite right. I can handle it, might even address it or ponder on it. And if I learn something, I learn something. That's life, man. I don't think I'm ever going to stop learning. And I think as soon as you think you know everything, it's over. Yeah, you're never going to learn if you think you already know everything. Some people are so damn sure of themselves, and it's like, well, I know I'm going to end up knowing more than that guy if that guy doesn't smart enough. It's not that that guy might not know a whole lot. Like he probably knows way more than I know at the time. But as soon as you think you're done learning, well, you are done learning, and I will never stop learning. Um, like what I want out of this life would be just to be content. I don't know what that means, and I don't know if anybody ever really does. What they want out of life or how to achieve it. Money doesn't buy happiness. Career hardly buy. Does like it all has to come from yourself, and that's something that I guess I've always tried to figure out. Like, how do you create your own happiness without aiming towards happiness? Because as soon as you try to find happiness, well, that's a non-starter. You're already off the wrong path. So it's basically just kind of living your life and coming to an understanding about it, and appreciating the moments that you get. Like, I just sat there and stared at a partridge, earlier, and just probably for like 5 minutes. Like, well, maybe not quite 5 minutes, but long enough to, just stare, I guess. I don't know. Like, I like wildlife and I like observing it, and I appreciate it when I see it, because I know a lot of people in cities and such don't see wildlife. Like, if I would have showed anybody else that, they'd probably, flipping out like, oh my God, partridge, blah, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, I see them a lot. Sometimes I hit them with my car and it's not cool. Like, but I don't know. I think that's the beauty of Canada and living in Northern Ontario. I think we just need to appreciate what we got. Everyone's so mad at the government, mad at this and mad at that. It's like, man, like, just, have you walked outside recently? Have you been out in the bush? Have you had a fire by the lake? There's more to life than what's happening in politics. There's more to life than the latest gossip, the latest thing, the fads, and like, who's right, who's wrong, blah, blah, blah. Like, just determine for yourself what you think is true. Try to challenge it as much as you can, and get to the bottom of it. But, like, I still say, don't take life too seriously. Take life too seriously. By the time bad times actually come, you're gonna say, fuck. Like, I wish I would have just enjoyed the good times when they were there, instead of just worrying about this and that. Even if, like, you see the world ending, it's like, oh, the world's gonna end in 10 years. Like, so it's not ended now. And I have lots of hope for the future. Like, we're doing all sorts of things. We're cleaning up the oceans. We're figuring out ways to take carbon out of the air. We're fucking around with, like, carbon nanotubes and graphene and crap. Like, we're, like, trying to transfer our brains into computers and shit. Like, we're good. Like, we're launching rockets into space. Like, we're on top of everything, like, but people just seem to think, oh, we're going to die in 10 years due to global warming. It's like, humans are going to survive. Like, we're very adaptable. Like, it's the animals I care about, like, the earth. It's like, we should probably not pollute so much and, like, wreck our earth like that. Like, even the global warming, like, we shouldn't be pumping carbon in the air, or at least try to take it out. But then when you start taking carbon out of the air, then you have a really messed up balance. Like, well, if you start making money off carbon you're taking out of the air, well, you could deplete the air out of carbon, and then what? Like, plants are going to be affected, and then that's a whole thing. So we got to be really careful with how we really go about everything and make sure we're on top of it. Like, it's kind of like this AI technology. It just kind of snuck up on everybody, and, the military's using it and everything. Like, they're like, they know more than everybody else, and, like, there doesn't seem to be any laws around AI technology, like, and AIs can we're getting to the point where AIs can know a person better than they know themselves, and that's scary. But even with AI technology, I'm I'm sure there's going to be a supernova come from, or like, what do you call that? A discharge come from the sun and just EMP the world. It'd probably be the healthiest thing for society even right now. People figure out what's actually important in life. Like, I am not advocating exactly for destroying the earth or like, for EMP the earth or anything like that. But I'm just saying if it happens, it happens. And I think we could learn from that. Most people wouldn't know what to do, and I don't know, it actually happening would be really horrible. Our whole system runs on the internet now. But we'd figure it out. Like I said, humans are adaptable. And the other thing that I've been thinking about also is this idea of transcendence, Like, people transcend in certain aspects, like I've been reading up on like different, like, religious transcendence, like believing in God and whatnot, transcendence and like, just being above it all, just in general or whatever. Like, there's all sorts of different words for transcendence and different types of it. And, like, I guess the thing I'm trying to look for is that spiritual transcendence. And that's a difficult thing. Like, there's people who meditate every single day looking for that crap. And I don't know if I want to go that far about it, but like, I do want to connect spiritually, and that'll be part of my journey. That and just fixing my life in general. That's it's not like my life's not falling apart, nothing. Just like, just keeping my kitchen clean and stuff like that. Making sure I'm taking care of myself properly. Keep making sure my Leo's cage is fed, whatever. Cage is all done up and everything else. Leo's my leopard gecko, by the way. He's pretty cool. Eats worms and stuff. Well, actually, I'm trying to get him to eat worms because they're a lot easier to take care of than crickets. And crickets die and stuff like that before he even gets to eat them. So, trying to get him on worms. Yeah. No, he's a hunter. But anyway, I hope you enjoy this podcast, and I hope it's not too everywhere. I think just in this episode, I talked about a lot of different topics, and and I tried to plan out what I'm gonna say. I tried to, I'm just gonna talk about truth, and then it's like I'm 10 minutes in and I'm like, oh, I just talked about everything I was going to talk about. So I'm going to be trying some different ideas on how I'm going to go about this. I think what I'm doing now is all right though, but we'll see in the future how this all pans out. Like, I definitely got some practice to do. Looking at the camera, even, like, I just forget it's even there. So that's a whole thing. So yeah, you'll be learning along with me, to the almost 50 people that are following me on Facebook. That's if all of them even listen to this. But I appreciate y'all. You guys are awesome. This isn't as long as I was planning it to be, but I don't really have much else to talk about without just going from topic to topic and just rambling my brains out. So I think 20 minutes is probably a decent starting point. I'd like to these be like 30 to 40 minutes, but we'll get there, one episode at a time. So for now, thank you. Follow me on, or this podcast rather, on Twitter and Instagram at TLOFT at TLOFT podcast. That's what it is. I'm still getting used to social media, so there's like nothing on there. I don't even know how to use Twitter. We'll figure that out. But basically right now, just all my social media is just going to be my updates. And like, you're going to know when I record and when they're released. beyond that, maybe some pictures now and again if it pertains to the podcast. We'll see how it all goes. I gotta stop saying so much, and I gotta really watch what I'm saying. But have a good night, guys, or a good day, or whatever time it is when you're watching this or listening. All right, see ya.